Welcome to Unsolved Historical Mysteries. The ghost ship Mary Celeste, the chilling truth behind its mysterious voyage. 1. The discovery of a ghost ship. The moment Mary Celeste was found. On December 5, 1872, the British brigantine Dei Gratia, commanded by Captain David Morehouse, was navigating the Atlantic Ocean, about 400 miles east of the Azores. It was a calm day, with clear skies and gentle waves, when one of the Dei Gratia's crew spotted a vessel drifting aimlessly in the distance. At first glance, it appeared to be a typical merchant ship, but something about its movements seemed odd. The sails were partially set, but appeared tattered, and the ship was slowly zigzagging across the water. Concerned, Captain Morehouse ordered his crew to approach the vessel. As the Dei Gratia drew closer, it became evident that the ship was the Mary Celeste, a merchant brigantine out of New York. This recognition sparked immediate concern. Captain Morehouse and his first mate, Oliver DeVoe, were familiar with the Mary Celeste and its captain, Benjamin Briggs, a seasoned mariner with an impeccable reputation. In fact, the Mary Celeste had departed New York just a few weeks earlier, on November 7, 1872, bound for Genoa, Italy, carrying a cargo of 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol. Upon closer inspection, the situation grew even stranger. The Mary Celeste showed no obvious signs of distress. There were no indications of a collision, fire, or storm damage. Yet the ship appeared completely abandoned. Its sails were damaged but serviceable, and the hull was intact. From a distance, the vessel seemed seaworthy, raising the question, why had the crew deserted the ship? Morehouse decided to send a boarding party to investigate. First mate Oliver DeVoe and a small team rowed over to the Mary Celeste. As they climbed aboard, they were struck by an eerie silence. The ship was entirely empty. There was no sign of Captain Briggs, his wife, Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, or the 7 experienced sailors who made up the crew. The first place the boarding party checked was the captain's cabin. Inside, they found personal belongings neatly arranged. The ship's logbook lay on the desk, with the last entry dated November 25, placing the Mary Celeste near Santa Maria Island in the Azores. The entry made no mention of trouble or anything out of the ordinary. However, it was clear that something had happened between November 25 and the day the Dei Gratia found the ship. The dining area revealed another strange detail: food was still on the table. Plates, utensils, and even a pot of half-cooked food were left as if the crew had abandoned their meal in a hurry. The cargo hold was inspected next. Out of the 1,701 barrels of alcohol, 9 were empty, but there was no sign of a major spill or damage. This ruled out piracy or theft, as the most valuable items, including the cargo, were untouched. The lifeboat, however, was missing. This indicated that the crew might have left the ship deliberately. But the question was why? The Mary Celeste showed no signs of catastrophic damage, and there was no evidence of a struggle or natural disaster. As the boarding party continued their search, they noted additional peculiarities. The bilge contained about 3.5 feet of water, not unusual for a ship of this size but enough to warrant concern. The ship's compass was shattered, and the ship's clock had stopped. These minor damages might have added to the crew's apprehension, but they did not explain a sudden abandonment. DeVoe and his team returned to the Dei Gratia with their report, leaving Captain Morehouse and the rest of the crew stunned. The Mary Celeste was not merely abandoned. It was a ghost ship, left adrift without any clear reason. Given the ship's condition, Morehouse decided to tow it to Gibraltar, where authorities could investigate. When the Dei Gratia arrived in Gibraltar with the Mary Celeste in tow, news of the ghost ship quickly spread, capturing the imagination of the public. Maritime authorities launched a formal investigation, hoping to uncover the truth. Despite their efforts, no conclusive explanation was ever found. The discovery of the Mary Celeste was the start of one of history's greatest mysteries. Why would an experienced captain and his crew abandon a seaworthy vessel in the middle of the ocean? What had happened during those missing 10 days between the final log entry and the ship's discovery? These questions would ignite endless speculation, cementing the Mary Celeste's place as one of the most enduring maritime enigmas of all time. Eerie details and eyewitness accounts. The eerie circumstances surrounding the Mary Celeste's discovery have been the subject of fascination and speculation for over a century. When Captain Morehouse's crew boarded the ghost ship, their initial sense of unease quickly turned into a deep, haunting curiosity as they pieced together the bizarre scene left behind. Eyewitness accounts from the crew of the Dei Gratia provide a vivid picture of what they encountered and highlight the inexplicable nature of the event. One of the first unsettling details noted was the condition of the ship. From a distance, the Mary Celeste appeared seaworthy, its sails partially set and the hull intact. However, upon boarding, the crew found signs that the ship had been abandoned in haste. The sails were worn and flapping loosely, with some rigging dangling haphazardly. The ship's lifeboat was missing, and one of the hatches leading to the cargo hold was open. These signs hinted at a hurried departure, but why the crew had felt compelled to leave a perfectly operational vessel remained unclear. Inside the ship, the eeriness intensified. The cabins were disconcertingly orderly. In the captain's quarters, personal belongings were neatly stored, including clothes, a sheathed sword, and a copy of Captain Benjamin Briggs's Bible. A sewing machine stood with fabric still under its needle, as if someone had left mid-stitch. In the galley, cooking utensils and provisions were untouched, suggesting that the crew had been preparing meals before abandoning the ship. Plates of food, left uneaten, were still on the dining table. The eerie tableau gave the impression that the crew had vanished in the middle of their routine, as if plucked from their tasks by some unseen force. Adding to the mystery was the state of the cargo hold. The Mary Celeste had been carrying a large shipment of denatured alcohol, a flammable and hazardous substance. Of the 1,701 barrels, 9 were found to be empty. This anomaly raised questions about whether a leak or vapor buildup from the alcohol could have caused the crew to panic. Yet there were no signs of fire or an explosion, and the barrels themselves showed no damage. The ship's logbook, discovered in the captain's cabin, provided some insight but failed to shed light on the crucial events leading up to the abandonment. The final entry, dated November 25, 1872, recorded the Mary Celeste's position near the Azores and made no mention of any trouble. This gap in the timeline, the 10 days between the last log entry and the ship's discovery, became one of the most perplexing aspects of the case. Eyewitness accounts from the Dei Gratia crew also noted small, but curious details that seemed to defy explanation. For instance, the ship's clock had stopped, and the compass was shattered, raising the possibility of navigational challenges. The bilge contained about 3.5 feet of water, a manageable amount but unusual given the ship's otherwise stable condition. Some reports even described mysterious scratches and stains on the deck, though these could not be definitively linked to the crew's disappearance. Despite the unsettling scene, there was a conspicuous absence of evidence pointing to foul play or natural disaster. The Dei Gratia crew found no bloodstains, no signs of struggle, and no damage consistent with a violent storm. Piracy was ruled out because the ship's valuable cargo and personal belongings were untouched. These contradictions only deepened the sense of mystery. The story of the Mary Celeste quickly captured the public's imagination, as newspapers and maritime circles buzzed with theories. Some speculated that the ship had been cursed, pointing to its troubled history, including a collision during its maiden voyage under a different name, Amazon. Others believed that the crew might have been overcome by toxic fumes from the alcohol cargo, or abandoned ship out of fear of an impending explosion. A few even suggested supernatural explanations, claiming that ghosts or sea monsters had played a role in the crew's disappearance. In the decades that followed, the Mary Celeste's eerie details have been examined and re-examined by historians, writers, and adventurers. Each piece of evidence offers a tantalizing glimpse into the past, but leaves the central mystery intact: the orderly abandonment of a seaworthy vessel. The strange state of the cargo and the absence of the crew continue to baffle and intrigue, solidifying the Mary Celeste's status as the quintessential ghost ship. The puzzling circumstances of an abandoned ship. The abandonment of the Mary Celeste is one of the most perplexing mysteries in maritime history. How could a seaworthy vessel, helmed by a capable captain and an experienced crew, be found adrift with no one aboard? The circumstances surrounding the ship's discovery raise more questions than answers, with each detail deepening the enigma. One of the most confounding aspects was the state of the ship itself. Despite being abandoned, the Mary Celeste was remarkably intact. There was no evidence of fire, explosion, or structural damage that could have rendered the ship uninhabitable. The sails, though slightly tattered, were functional, and the rigging was in decent condition. The hull showed no signs of a collision or external attack, and the cargo of denatured alcohol was largely undisturbed. These facts ruled out many conventional explanations for a ship being deserted. The water in the bilge, approximately 3.5 feet, was a peculiar detail. While not catastrophic, it might have concerned the crew, especially if they perceived it as a sign of a worsening situation. However, seasoned sailors like Captain Benjamin Briggs and his crew would likely have recognized that the ship was not in imminent danger. The decision to abandon a vessel is never taken lightly, as the ship itself often provides the best protection against the elements at sea. This raises the question what could have prompted them to leave. Another puzzle was the missing lifeboat. The absence of this crucial piece of equipment suggested that the crew had deliberately abandoned the Mary Celeste. But why? The ship's condition indicated that there was no immediate threat that would necessitate such an action. Could it have been a sudden panic? If so, what triggered it? One popular theory posits that fumes from the alcohol cargo might have built up, creating the illusion of an imminent explosion. The crew, fearing for their lives, might have hastily evacuated in the lifeboat, intending to return once the danger had passed. Yet, no signs of fire or explosion were found, and the barrels of alcohol, except for the 9 empty ones, were intact. The ship's navigation instruments also presented a mystery. The compass was broken, and the ship's clock had stopped. While not critical failures, these details suggest that the crew might have been facing navigational challenges. Could disorientation or a fear of being lost at sea have contributed to their decision? However, the ship's last recorded position was close to land, and the weather at the time was reported to be fair, making this explanation less convincing. Another curious element was the ship's logbook. The final entry, dated November 25, 1872, recorded the Mary Celeste's location near Santa Maria Island in the Azores. The entry provided no indication of trouble, and all seemed normal aboard. However, the ship was discovered, drifting nearly 400 miles east of this position 10 days later. This gap in time and distance has led to intense speculation. Did something catastrophic occur during those 10 days? And if so, why is there no physical evidence to suggest what it might have been? The orderly state of the ship's interior further complicates the mystery. Personal belongings, including valuables, were left behind, suggesting that the crew did not have time to take anything with them. The dining area, with plates and utensils still in place, hinted that the abandonment occurred suddenly and without warning. Yet, the absence of signs of violence or struggle eliminates the possibility of a mutiny or external attack. Natural phenomena have also been considered. Could a rogue wave or sudden squall have forced the crew to evacuate? While possible, the Mary Celeste showed no signs of water damage consistent with such an event. Another theory involves a seaquake, where underwater seismic activity creates vibrations that might have alarmed the crew. Yet, these explanations still fail to account for the lack of damage to the ship and the complete disappearance of the crew. The human element adds another layer of intrigue. Captain Briggs was known as a cautious and methodical leader. His decision to bring his wife and young daughter on the voyage suggests confidence in the safety of the journey. Similarly, the crew members were experienced sailors, unlikely to abandon ship without a compelling reason. This raises the chilling possibility that an external factor, beyond human control, drove them to leave, a possibility that has fueled speculation about supernatural or otherworldly forces. Ultimately, the circumstances of the Mary Celeste's abandonment remain an enigma. Each piece of evidence seems to contradict the others, creating a puzzle that defies conventional explanations. The ship's pristine condition, the missing lifeboat, and the complete absence of the crew all point to a decision made in haste. Yet no definitive cause can be identified. This blend of the ordinary and the extraordinary has kept the story alive, inviting endless analysis and debate. 2. The background of Mary Celeste. The ship's history and purpose of its voyage. The Mary Celeste was a ship with a story long before it became a mystery. Originally built in 1861 at Spencer's Island, Nova Scotia, the ship was first christened as the Amazon. It was a two-masted brigantine, designed for commercial shipping and known for its sturdy construction. However, its early years were marked by misfortune, leading many to believe the vessel was cursed even before its infamous abandonment. During its maiden voyage, the Amazon's first captain fell ill and died suddenly, an ominous start for any ship. Over the next few years, the vessel faced a series of accidents, including a collision with another ship in the English Channel, and running aground off the coast of Nova Scotia. By 1867, the ship was declared a wreck and abandoned. However, it was salvaged, repaired, and sold to new owners, who renamed it the Mary Celeste. Renaming a ship was considered bad luck by many sailors, and this change seemed to do little to alter the vessel's troubled reputation. Under new ownership, the Mary Celeste embarked on various trading missions across the Atlantic, carrying goods such as coal, timber, and grain. Despite its unlucky beginnings, the ship performed well, and by 1872, it was in the hands of Captain Benjamin Briggs, a man with a sterling reputation in maritime circles. Captain Briggs was a devout Christian and a seasoned mariner, known for his meticulous planning and dedication to safety. He was deeply involved in the preparation for the Mary Celeste's next voyage, a journey from New York to Genoa, Italy. The ship's cargo consisted of 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol, a volatile and highly flammable substance commonly used in industrial applications. While dangerous, such cargo was not unusual for ships of the time, and Briggs took every precaution to ensure the safety of the voyage. Briggs's decision to bring his wife, Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter, Sophia, on the journey underscored his confidence in the ship and the voyage. This was to be a family adventure, and the presence of loved ones on board suggested that he expected a routine and uneventful trip. In addition to his family, the crew consisted of 7 experienced sailors, each carefully chosen for their skill and reliability. The Mary Celeste set sail from New York Harbor on November 7, 1872. The voyage began under favorable conditions, with clear skies and calm seas. Briggs's logbook entries from the early days of the journey recorded steady progress and no significant issues. The ship passed the Azores on November 25, as noted in the final entry, placing it near Santa Maria Island. At this point, everything seemed normal. The purpose of the voyage was straightforward: deliver the cargo to Genoa and return to New York with a new shipment. While the alcohol cargo presented some risk, Briggs had navigated similar challenges before. For him and his crew, this journey was expected to be another successful chapter in their maritime careers. However, the Mary Celeste never reached its destination. When the Dei Gratia discovered the ship adrift on December 5, it was clear that something had gone terribly wrong. The events that transpired between the last log entry and the ship's discovery remain a mystery. Did the volatile cargo play a role? Did the ship encounter a sudden and unexpected danger? Or was there something more inexplicable at play? The Mary Celeste's history adds an intriguing layer to its mystery. The vessel's early misfortunes, combined with the apparent normalcy of its final voyage's departure, create a striking contrast. It was a ship that had weathered adversity and seemed poised for a routine journey, only to become the centerpiece of one of history's most enduring enigmas. Profiles of the captain and crew. The story of the Mary Celeste is incomplete without an understanding of the people who were aboard during its fateful voyage. Captain Benjamin Briggs and his carefully selected crew played central roles in this enduring mystery. Their experience, character, and backgrounds make their unexplained disappearance even more baffling. Captain Benjamin Briggs. Captain Benjamin Spooner Briggs was born in Wareham, Massachusetts, in 1835, into a family with a strong maritime tradition. He was one of 5 sons, all of whom became sea captains, a testament to the family's deep connection to the ocean. Briggs himself was widely respected in the maritime community for his skill, discipline, and unwavering commitment to his profession. Briggs was also known for his religious devotion and moral integrity. A devout Christian, he often carried a Bible with him on voyages and conducted daily prayers on board his ships. His faith was a guiding principle in his life, and he was known to avoid practices he considered unethical, such as smuggling or carrying dubious cargo. In preparation for the Mary Celeste's voyage to Genoa, Briggs left no detail to chance. He oversaw the ship's loading, ensured the cargo was securely stored, and inspected the vessel thoroughly. His decision to bring his wife, Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter, Sophia, on board speaks volumes about his confidence in the ship and the journey ahead. For Briggs, this was not just another voyage, it was a family affair. Sarah and Sophia Briggs. Sarah Elizabeth Cobb, Benjamin's wife, was described as intelligent, warm, and supportive. She had accompanied her husband on previous voyages and was familiar with life at sea. Their daughter, Sophia, was just 2 years old. and the youngest passenger aboard. The Briggs family's presence adds a poignant layer to the mystery, as their disappearance was deeply felt by their loved ones back home. The crew of the Mary Celeste. Briggs handpicked his crew for the voyage, prioritizing experience and reliability. The 7 sailors he selected were an international group, with most hailing from Europe. Among them was Albert Richardson, the first mate, who was Briggs's right-hand man. Richardson was an experienced mariner and had served under Briggs on previous voyages, earning his trust and respect. The second mate, Andrew Gilling, was a Dane in his mid-20s. Gilling was known for his quiet demeanor and proficiency in navigation. The ship's steward, Edward Head, was a young Englishman, responsible for maintaining the ship's provisions and ensuring the comfort of its passengers. The remaining 4 crew members, Volkert Lorenzen, Arian Martins, Gottlieb Gudeshad, and Bossert Bjornsson, were German sailors with extensive seafaring experience. They were described as hard-working, disciplined, and accustomed to the challenges of life at sea. A cohesive team. The Mary Celeste's crew was considered well qualified for the voyage. There were no reports of interpersonal conflicts or disputes before the ship's departure, and Briggs's leadership style was known to foster cooperation and mutual respect. This cohesive dynamic makes the mystery of their disappearance even more perplexing. Why would such a capable and harmonious group abandon a seaworthy ship in the middle of the ocean? The human element of the mystery. The disappearance of the Mary Celeste's crew transforms the story from a maritime enigma into a deeply human tragedy. These were not faceless sailors, but individuals with families, dreams, and stories of their own. Their sudden and unexplained vanishing leaves a void that has fueled speculation for generations. Did they face a sudden and overwhelming danger, such as a natural disaster or a catastrophic accident involving the ship's volatile cargo? Or did they encounter something beyond the realm of human understanding? The absence of answers continues to haunt historians and maritime enthusiasts alike. The profiles of Captain Briggs, his family, and the crew reveal a group of skilled, trustworthy individuals who were unlikely to make rash decisions. Their unexplained disappearance leaves us grappling with the question: what could have possibly led these capable people to abandon the Mary Celeste, leaving behind one of the most enduring mysteries in maritime history? Strange events before the journey began. Before the Mary Celeste embarked on its ill-fated voyage, a series of strange and unsettling events unfolded, adding an ominous layer to an already enigmatic story. While none of these incidents directly explain the ship's ultimate fate, they contribute to the aura of mystery that surrounds the Mary Celeste. The ship's troubled past. The Mary Celeste's history was marked by misfortune, even before it became synonymous with maritime mystery. Originally launched in 1861 as the Amazon, the ship's maiden voyage was marred by tragedy when its first captain, Robert McClellan, fell ill and died suddenly. This inauspicious start earned the vessel a reputation for being cursed. Over the years, the ship experienced multiple accidents, including a collision and grounding, before being declared a wreck in 1867. After being salvaged, repaired, and renamed the Mary Celeste, the ship seemed to leave its troubles behind until this voyage. Many sailors of the time were highly superstitious, and a ship with a history of misfortune, compounded by the renaming, was viewed with suspicion. These ominous undertones set the stage for the events that would follow. The cargo's volatile nature. One of the most striking elements of the Mary Celeste's final voyage was its cargo: 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol. This substance was highly flammable and potentially hazardous if mishandled. Loading the barrels required extreme caution, and even the smallest oversight could result in disaster. Captain Briggs, known for his meticulous nature, personally oversaw the loading process to ensure safety. Still, the crew would have been acutely aware of the dangers posed by the alcohol. Historical records suggest that several of the barrels were made of red oak, which is more prone to leakage compared to white oak, the material typically used for such containers. This fact has fueled theories that leaking vapors might have caused the crew to panic later during the voyage. An uneasy atmosphere. While no direct evidence of unrest exists, some accounts suggest that there was a sense of unease among the crew before departure. Reports indicate that Captain Briggs confided in friends and family about his apprehensions regarding the voyage, while he didn't elaborate on the source of his concerns. His uncharacteristic anxiety has been noted by historians as a potential red flag. Adding to the tension was the fact that the crew of the Dei Gratia, the ship that would later discover the Mary Celeste, departed New York Harbor just days after the Mary Celeste. The two ships shared similar routes across the Atlantic, leading some to speculate about a competitive dynamic between the two captains. While there's no evidence of hostility, the proximity of their timelines has intrigued conspiracy theorists. A delayed departure. The Mary Celeste's departure was delayed by several days due to bad weather and logistical issues. Such delays were not uncommon, but they may have contributed to an air of frustration or impatience among the crew. Additionally, the ship's final inspection was reportedly rushed, leaving room for potential oversights. One curious detail noted by historians is the absence of additional passengers. It was common for merchant ships to take on extra individuals, such as paying passengers or additional hands, for long voyages. However, the Mary Celeste had only its small crew and the Briggs family aboard. This decision, while practical, adds to the sense of isolation and vulnerability that the ship may have faced at sea. Superstitions and omens. In the 19th century, sailors were deeply superstitious, and many believed in omens that could foretell a voyage's success or failure. Some accounts claim that the Mary Celeste's departure was accompanied by strange occurrences, such as unexplained noises during loading and equipment malfunctions. While these reports are anecdotal and possibly exaggerated over time, they align with the ship's already troubled reputation. Some crew members were reportedly uneasy about the ship's past and its hazardous cargo. While these fears were not unusual given the conditions of maritime travel, they might have contributed to a heightened state of tension among the crew, setting the stage for later events. An ominous beginning. When the Mary Celeste finally set sail on November 7, 1872, it seemed like a routine voyage. The weather was fair, the ship was fully provisioned, and Captain Briggs's log entries indicated steady progress. Yet the undercurrent of unease lingered. From the ship's unlucky history to the potentially dangerous cargo, and the peculiar atmosphere surrounding its departure, the Mary Celeste seemed to carry with it a weight of foreboding. These strange events and details, while not definitive explanations, serve as haunting preludes to the mystery that would unfold. They leave us wondering, did these signs foreshadow the crew's fate? Or are they merely coincidental elements of a story that continues to defy explanation? 3. Attempts to unravel the mystery. One of the earliest theories proposed to explain the disappearance of the Mary Celeste's crew was piracy. The 19th century was not free of seafaring. Criminals and tales of pirate attacks on merchant vessels were common. However, when examining the circumstances surrounding the Mary Celeste, this theory begins to unravel under closer scrutiny. Piracy in the 19th century. By the 1870s, piracy had largely diminished in the Atlantic, but it had not disappeared entirely. Some pirates continued to operate, targeting vulnerable merchant ships to seize valuable cargo. Given the Mary Celeste's shipment of 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol, it could have been a tempting target. Pirates might have seen the ship as an opportunity to profit from its goods, or to ransom its crew. Attacks typically left behind telltale signs of violence. Ships often showed evidence of forced entry, looted cargo holds, or damage to the vessel's structure. Crews that resisted were sometimes killed, while others were taken as prisoners. It's easy to see why this explanation might seem plausible at first glance. The state of the Mary Celeste. When the Dei Gratia crew boarded the Mary Celeste, they found no signs of a struggle. The ship was intact, with its cargo largely undisturbed. Personal belongings, including valuables, were left behind, which would be highly unusual in the case of piracy. Even the ship's chronometer and sextant, which were valuable navigation tools, were untouched. The lack of physical damage to the Mary Celeste is another significant factor. Pirate attacks were often aggressive and left clear evidence of confrontation. The Mary Celeste's sails, while slightly damaged, showed no indications of battle or forced entry. This absence of violence contradicts the idea of a pirate attack. The crew's disappearance. If pirates had indeed attacked the Mary Celeste, what happened to the crew? In most cases, pirates either took the crew hostage or left survivors behind. The complete disappearance of all aboard the Mary Celeste, Captain Briggs, his family, and the 7 crew members, does not fit the typical pattern of piracy. Furthermore, there were no bodies found aboard the ship or in the surrounding area, which would be expected in the aftermath of a violent confrontation. The cargo's limited appeal. Another point against the piracy theory is the nature of the Mary Celeste's cargo. Denatured alcohol was flammable and hazardous, making it a risky item to transport or resell. Pirates, who typically sought gold, textiles, or other easily marketable goods, would have had little use for such a dangerous cargo. The fact that the barrels were untouched, aside from the 9 that were empty, further weakens the argument for piracy. Timing and location. The Mary Celeste was discovered adrift about 400 miles east of the Azores, in a part of the Atlantic that was not known for frequent pirate activity during the 1870s. Pirates tended to operate closer to busy shipping lanes or near ports, where they could more easily offload stolen goods. The remote location of the Mary Celeste's discovery makes it less likely that it was targeted by pirates. Speculation and imagination. Despite the lack of evidence, the idea of piracy persisted in public imagination. Newspapers of the time sensationalized the story, adding fictitious details about bloodstains and sword fights that never existed. These embellishments fueled speculation and helped piracy remain one of the enduring theories surrounding the Mary Celeste. The verdict on piracy. While the notion of a pirate attack offers a dramatic explanation, it fails to align with the facts. The untouched cargo, absence of damage, and lack of signs of violence or theft strongly argue against this theory. The disappearance of the crew remains unexplained, but it is highly unlikely that piracy played a role in their fate. The rejection of the piracy theory does not bring us closer to a definitive answer, but it narrows the possibilities. If pirates were not responsible for the abandonment of the Mary Celeste, what could have driven a seasoned crew to leave a seaworthy vessel? The search for answers continues, with other theories attempting to fill the void left by this maritime mystery. Natural phenomena theories. Storms, gas explosions. Natural phenomena have long been considered as potential explanations for the Mary Celeste mystery. The unpredictable and often harsh conditions at sea make it plausible that a sudden event forced the crew to abandon ship. Among the most discussed natural causes are violent storms and a possible gas explosion from the ship's volatile cargo. While these theories offer compelling possibilities, they raise as many questions as they answer. The possibility of a storm. The Atlantic Ocean is notorious for its sudden and violent storms, which can catch even the most experienced sailors off guard. A storm might have damaged the Mary Celeste, flooding the bilge and making the crew fear for their lives. The discovery of about 3.5 feet of water in the ship's bilge supports this idea, as it indicates some degree of water ingress. However, there are significant challenges to the storm theory. When the Dei Gracia found the Mary Celeste, her sails were intact, though slightly damaged, and her rigging was in good condition. The hull showed no signs of being battered by heavy seas, and the cargo was secure. A storm strong enough to scare the crew into abandoning ship would likely have left more visible damage. Furthermore, the last log entry recorded clear weather near the Azores, suggesting that the ship had not encountered rough conditions immediately prior to its abandonment. The presence of the lifeboat missing from the Mary Celeste further complicates the storm hypothesis. In a storm, abandoning ship into a small lifeboat would have been an exceedingly dangerous choice. Captain Benjamin Briggs, known for his cautious nature, would likely have opted to remain on the larger and more stable vessel, unless faced with an imminent and catastrophic threat. The gas explosion theory. The Mary Celeste's cargo of 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol has led to another popular theory: a gas explosion. Denatured alcohol is a highly volatile substance, and improper storage or a leak could release flammable vapors into the ship's hold. A spark, perhaps from friction or static electricity, could have ignited the gas, causing a small explosion or a series of loud bangs. Proponents of this theory suggest that such an event might not have caused significant structural damage, but could have created a terrifying situation for the crew. Fearing a larger explosion, they might have abandoned the ship hastily, intending to return once the danger had passed. The missing lifeboat aligns with this scenario, as it implies an orderly evacuation rather than a chaotic escape. However, the gas explosion theory has its own inconsistencies. The Dei Gracia crew found no evidence of burn marks or fire damage aboard the Mary Celeste. Additionally, there was no significant damage to the barrels themselves, apart from the 9 that were empty. While a small, contained explosion might not leave extensive physical evidence, the lack of scorch marks raises doubts about this explanation. A rogue wave. Another natural phenomenon often proposed is a rogue wave, a sudden and enormous wall of water capable of capsizing or severely damaging ships. While the Mary Celeste was not capsized, a rogue wave might have flooded the deck, washing away equipment and alarming the crew. If the wave had knocked the lifeboat loose, the crew might have been forced to abandon ship in a moment of panic. Like the storm theory, the rogue wave explanation is challenged by the ship's relatively undisturbed condition. A wave strong enough to force an evacuation would likely have caused more visible damage to the rigging, sails, or cargo. Moreover, the crew's absence, with no trace of bodies or debris, remains unexplained. Seaquakes and other unusual events. Seaquakes, underwater earthquakes, are another natural phenomenon that could have affected the Mary Celeste. Such events can create violent vibrations and disrupt the water's surface, potentially alarming the crew. The vibrations might have caused the barrels of alcohol to shift, producing noises or leaks that heightened the crew's fear. While intriguing, The seaquake theory has little concrete evidence to support it. No seismic activity was recorded in the region at the time, and seaquakes typically cause visible damage or destabilize a vessel, neither of which was observed on the Mary Celeste. Weighing the evidence, each natural phenomenon theory presents a plausible scenario, yet none can fully account for the facts. The ship's intact condition, the missing lifeboat, and the complete disappearance of the crew defy straightforward explanations. A storm or rogue wave might explain why the crew abandoned ship, but it does not clarify why they left a seaworthy vessel. Similarly, a gas explosion could explain the missing lifeboat, but leaves questions about the absence of fire damage. What makes the Mary Celeste mystery so compelling is the interplay of these natural forces with human decision-making. If the crew faced a sudden and overwhelming danger, why does the ship itself bear so little evidence of it? And why did none of the crew, or their lifeboat, ever surface again? Ultimately, while natural phenomena provide logical frameworks for the mystery, they fall short of offering definitive answers. The Mary Celeste's story remains a haunting reminder of the ocean's unpredictable power and the limits of human understanding. The appeal of supernatural explanations. When logical explanations fall short, the human imagination often turns to the supernatural. The Mary Celeste, with its eerie abandonment and unanswered questions, has become a fertile ground for theories involving ghosts, sea monsters, and otherworldly forces. While these ideas might seem far-fetched, they offer intriguing insights into how people interpret the unknown, especially in the face of mysteries that defy conventional reasoning. Ghosts and curses. The Mary Celeste's troubled history, marked by accidents and tragedy, has fueled speculation that the ship was cursed. Sailors of the 19th century were deeply superstitious, and a vessel with a past as unlucky as the Mary Celeste's could easily acquire a reputation for being haunted. Some have suggested that the ship was abandoned due to the influence of malevolent spirits. This theory gained traction in popular culture after Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, wrote a fictionalized account of the Mary Celeste in 1884. In his story, titled J. Habakkuk Jeffson's Statement, Doyle described the ship as cursed and plagued by ghostly apparitions. Though fictional, Doyle's work cemented the idea of supernatural forces in the public imagination. The orderly state of the ship when it was discovered, its cargo intact, personal belongings undisturbed, further stoked the idea that something beyond human comprehension had occurred. How else could the crew have vanished without a trace, leaving no signs of struggle or distress? Sea monsters and maritime legends. Maritime folklore is filled with tales of sea monsters and mysterious creatures that prey on ships and their crews. From krakens to serpentine leviathans, the vast and uncharted oceans have long been seen as a domain where the natural and supernatural overlap. Could the crew of the Mary Celeste have fallen victim to such a creature? While there is no physical evidence to support this theory, the idea has persisted, particularly in fictional retellings of the story. The vast emptiness of the ocean and the ship's sudden abandonment make the concept of an unseen predator tantalizing. UFOs and alien abduction. In more modern interpretations, some theorists have suggested that the crew of the Mary Celeste was abducted by extraterrestrial beings. While this idea might seem anachronistic, it reflects the same human tendency to seek extraordinary explanations for extraordinary events. Proponents of this theory argue that the complete absence of the crew and the ship's pristine condition are consistent with reports of alleged alien abductions. Though there is no direct evidence linking UFOs to the Mary Celeste, the theory remains popular among enthusiasts of the paranormal. It speaks to the enduring allure of the unknown, and the ways in which human curiosity seeks to fill gaps in understanding. The role of supernatural theories. Supernatural explanations for the Mary Celeste's fate are unlikely to provide factual answers, but they serve an important cultural purpose. They highlight the human need to make sense of mysteries, especially those that defy conventional reasoning. The allure of the supernatural lies in its ability to offer closure, even if that closure is rooted in imagination rather than evidence. The Mary Celeste's story has persisted for over a century, not just because of the mystery itself, but because of the possibilities it inspires. Whether through ghost stories, sea monster tales, or alien abduction theories, the supernatural offers a lens through which people can engage with the unknown in creative and meaningful ways. A legacy of imagination. The supernatural appeal of the Mary Celeste reflects our collective fascination with what lies beyond the limits of human knowledge. While rational explanations continue to be explored, the ship's mystery has taken on a life of its own, shaped by the myths and legends that surround it. Ultimately, the Mary Celeste is not just a maritime enigma. It is a testament to the power of storytelling and the enduring human quest to understand the unexplainable. The ship's ghostly legacy will likely continue to inspire new interpretations and keep its story alive for generations to come. 4. Modern scientific perspectives. Insights from scientific analysis. In the years since the Mary Celeste's discovery, modern science and maritime expertise have provided valuable insights into the mystery. While no definitive answer has emerged, scientific analysis has shed light on several aspects of the case, offering plausible explanations for some of its perplexing details. The ship's seaworthiness. One of the first questions addressed by scientific studies was the seaworthiness of the Mary Celeste. Naval architects and maritime historians have examined the ship's design and condition, concluding that it was structurally sound and capable of withstanding the rigors of an Atlantic crossing. The presence of 3.5 feet of water in the bilge was initially seen as alarming, but experts note that this amount of water was not unusual for a ship of its size and type. It could have been caused by leaks or heavy rain during the voyage, but it was unlikely to have posed a serious threat. Captain Benjamin Briggs, an experienced mariner, would have recognized this and been unlikely to abandon the ship for this reason alone. Cargo analysis and gas explosion hypotheses. The Mary Celeste's cargo of 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol has been the focus of extensive scientific scrutiny. While most of the barrels were made of white oak, which is resistant to leaks, 9 were constructed from red oak, a more porous material. This difference may have allowed vapors to escape, creating a potentially dangerous buildup of flammable gases in the hold. In 2006, scientists conducted an experiment to test the plausibility of a gas explosion scenario. Using a scale model of the Mary Celeste, they simulated an ignition of alcohol vapors in the cargo hold. The results showed that such an explosion could produce a powerful blast of pressure without leaving burn marks or causing significant structural damage. This aligns with the ship's condition when it was discovered, and supports the theory that the crew may have abandoned ship out of fear of a second, larger explosion. Weather patterns and rogue waves. Meteorological studies have analyzed weather patterns in the Atlantic during the Mary Celeste's voyage. While no severe storms were recorded near the ship's last known position, sudden changes in weather, including rogue waves, remain a possibility. Rogue waves are rare but powerful phenomena that can appear without warning. potentially destabilizing a ship or washing crew members overboard. However, the ship's relatively undisturbed condition and the absence of damage to its rigging or cargo raised doubts about this explanation. Additionally, the complete disappearance of the crew, with no trace of bodies or the lifeboat, complicates the rogue wave hypothesis. Navigation equipment and decision-making. The condition of the Mary Celeste's navigation instruments has also been examined. The broken compass and stopped ship's clock suggest potential difficulties in maintaining an accurate course. If the crew became disoriented or feared they were drifting into dangerous waters, they might have panicked and made the drastic decision to abandon ship. However, experts emphasize that Captain Briggs was known for his calm and calculated decision-making. It is unlikely that he would have ordered an evacuation without a compelling reason. This highlights the critical gap in the Mary Celeste's story. What happened between the last log entry on November 25 and the ship's discovery 10 days later? Modern forensic techniques. Advancements in forensic science have been applied to the Mary Celeste case, though the passage of time has limited their effectiveness. Analysis of surviving artifacts, such as the ship's logbook and personal items, has provided valuable context but no new breakthroughs. The lack of physical evidence, such as signs of violence or environmental damage, continues to frustrate investigators. One modern hypothesis involves the possibility of contaminated food or water, ergot poisoning, caused by a fungus that grows on rye and other grains, has been suggested as a potential explanation. Symptoms of ergot poisoning include hallucinations, paranoia, and erratic behavior, which could explain why the crew might have abandoned ship in a panic. However, there is no direct evidence to confirm this theory. The limitations of science. While scientific analysis has answered some questions about the Mary Celeste, it has also highlighted the limits of our understanding. The ship's intact condition, the absence of the crew, and the missing lifeboat remain unresolved puzzles. Science can provide plausible scenarios, but without definitive evidence, these explanations remain speculative. The Mary Celeste's mystery endures not because it defies reason, but because it challenges our ability to piece together the fragments of the past. Each new scientific insight adds depth to the story, but the central question, what happened to the crew, remains as elusive as ever. Structural or design flaws of the ship. The Mary Celeste's reputation as a cursed vessel has led some to speculate that its design or construction might have contributed to its abandonment. Could hidden flaws in the ship itself have posed dangers that prompted the crew to evacuate? Examining the ship's structure and history reveals intriguing details, but ultimately raises more questions than answers. A sturdy but unlucky vessel. The Mary Celeste was originally launched in 1861 under the name Amazon, built as a brigantine. The ship was designed for versatility, capable of carrying a variety of cargo across long distances. Its construction was considered solid, with a durable wooden hull and a proven ability to handle challenging maritime conditions. Despite this, the ship's early years were marred by accidents, earning it a reputation as an unlucky vessel. After being salvaged and rebuilt following a grounding in 1867, the ship was renamed the Mary Celeste. The reconstruction included reinforcing the hull and adding new rigging, ensuring it met the standards of the time. By all accounts, the Mary Celeste was seaworthy and well suited for its intended purpose, overloading and cargo stability. One potential issue during the Mary Celeste's final voyage was the nature and placement of its cargo, 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol. This substance was not only hazardous, but also required careful handling to prevent leaks or shifting. Improper loading or inadequate securing of the barrels could have caused instability, particularly in rough seas. If the cargo began to move unexpectedly, it might have created alarming noises or even compromised the ship's balance. However, the Mary Celeste's hull showed no signs of stress or damage, and the cargo was found mostly intact when the ship was discovered. Additionally, the ship was not reported to be overloaded. Captain Benjamin Briggs, known for his meticulous nature, had ensured the cargo was distributed evenly to maintain the ship's stability. While the volatile nature of the alcohol cargo may have caused concern, there is no evidence to suggest it led to structural issues. Design considerations and vulnerabilities. The Mary Celeste's brigantine design, with its 2 masts and relatively shallow draft, was typical for merchant ships of the era. This design allowed for both speed and maneuverability, but came with certain vulnerabilities. One such vulnerability was the ship's susceptibility to taking on water in heavy seas. The 3.5 feet of water found in the bilge was not unusual, but it could have been perceived as a sign of trouble by the crew. If additional water had entered the ship, whether through leaks or stormy weather, it might have raised fears of sinking, even if those fears were unfounded. The ship's ventilation system also warrants consideration. Poor ventilation in the cargo hold could have allowed vapors from the denatured alcohol to accumulate. Combined with the natural movement of the ship, these vapors might have created a potentially explosive situation, as some theorists suggest. However, the absence of fire damage or structural weakening complicates this explanation. Structural integrity at the time of abandonment. Experts who examined the Mary Celeste after its discovery found no major structural issues. The hull was intact, the rigging was functional, and the sails were in serviceable condition, while the broken compass and stopped clock indicate minor equipment failures. These were not critical to the ship's overall integrity. The lack of visible damage has led many to conclude that structural or design flaws were unlikely to have played a significant role in the crew's disappearance. Any perceived issues with the ship would have been minor and manageable, particularly for an experienced captain like Benjamin Briggs. A ship of contradictions. The Mary Celeste's structural and design characteristics highlight one of the great contradictions of its mystery. By all accounts, the ship was seaworthy and well maintained, yet something caused its crew to abandon it in the open ocean. If the ship itself was not at fault, what external or psychological factors drove the decision to evacuate? A symbol of unanswered questions. While structural flaws have not been ruled out entirely, they remain an unlikely explanation for the Mary Celeste's fate. The ship's intact condition and lack of significant damage suggest that it was more than capable of completing its voyage. Yet the haunting image of the Mary Celeste adrift, abandoned without clear cause, continues to challenge our understanding of maritime mysteries. The study of the Mary Celeste's design serves as a reminder of the balance between human perception and reality. Even the most seaworthy vessel can fall victim to fear, uncertainty, and the unpredictable forces of the sea. Evidence-based conclusions. The Mary Celeste's mystery has endured for over 150 years, not because of a lack of theories, but because no single explanation fits all the evidence. Through careful examination of the ship, its cargo, and the conditions surrounding its abandonment, historians and scientists have pieced together plausible scenarios. While definitive answers remain elusive, evidence-based conclusions help illuminate the most likely causes behind this maritime enigma. The condition of the ship. When the Mary Celeste was discovered by the Dei Gratia crew, it was in a surprisingly intact state. The sails, though damaged, were functional, and the hull showed no signs of collision, fire, or structural failure. The cargo was nearly untouched, with only 9 of the 1,701 barrels of alcohol empty. This evidence points to one clear conclusion: the ship was not abandoned due to catastrophic damage or a sudden disaster. Whatever prompted the crew to leave must have been urgent enough to convince them that staying aboard was more dangerous than venturing into the open sea. The missing lifeboat. The absence of the ship's single lifeboat is one of the most telling clues. It suggests a deliberate evacuation, likely carried out in haste, but with some semblance of order. The lifeboat's absence also raises questions. Did the crew intend to return to the Mary Celeste once the perceived danger had passed? And if so, what prevented them from doing so? Some theorists argue that the lifeboat may have been poorly secured and lost to rough seas, forcing the crew to remain adrift without the means to return. Others suggest that the crew's evacuation was based on a miscalculation of the risks, leading to their tragic disappearance. The role of the cargo. The Mary Celeste's volatile cargo of denatured alcohol remains one of the most plausible sources of danger. Scientific experiments have demonstrated that escaping alcohol vapors could have created a highly flammable atmosphere in the ship's hold. Even a small spark could have ignited these vapors, producing an explosion or loud bang capable of frightening the crew. The lack of burn marks or fire damage on the ship suggests that any explosion, if it occurred, was limited to a sudden release of pressure. This scenario aligns with the idea that the crew abandoned the ship in fear of a larger, more destructive explosion that never came. Environmental factors. While no severe storms were recorded near the Mary Celeste's last known position, sudden environmental changes remain a possibility. Rogue waves, underwater seismic activity, or other natural phenomena could have alarmed the crew. However, the ship's undisturbed condition argues against these explanations. As primary causes, meteorological analysis suggests that the Mary Celeste was likely navigating calm seas in the days leading up to its abandonment. This fact complicates theories involving external environmental threats and points instead to an internal issue aboard the ship. Psychological factors. Human behavior under stress is unpredictable, and the psychological state of the Mary Celeste's crew may hold the key to its mystery. Fear of an explosion, concerns about the ship's stability, or a misinterpretation of environmental cues could have driven the crew to make a hasty decision. Captain Benjamin Briggs's reputation for caution and competence suggests that he would not have ordered an evacuation without a compelling reason. However, fear, whether rational or irrational, can override even the most experienced mariner's judgment. The mystery of the crew's fate, the complete disappearance of the Mary Celeste's crew, remains the most haunting aspect of the case. Theories involving pirates, sea monsters, or supernatural forces fail to align with the evidence, leaving only a few plausible possibilities. If the crew abandoned ship in the lifeboat, they may have been lost to rough seas or adverse weather. The Atlantic Ocean is vast and unforgiving, and a small lifeboat would have been highly vulnerable. The lack of bodies or debris suggests that any tragedy occurred far from where the Mary Celeste was eventually found. The most likely scenario, based on the available evidence, the most plausible explanation is a combination of factors. 1. A buildup of alcohol vapors in the cargo hold created a potentially explosive situation. 2. The crew, fearing an imminent disaster, evacuated in the lifeboat as a precaution. 3. Environmental conditions or a miscalculation prevented their safe return to the ship. This scenario accounts for the missing lifeboat, the intact condition of the ship, and the absence of the crew. While it does not answer every question, it offers a reasonable narrative, supported by physical evidence and scientific analysis. A mystery that endures. Despite these insights, the Mary Celeste remains an enigma. Its story continues to captivate the imagination, not only because of the unanswered questions but also because of the human element at its core. The disappearance of Captain Briggs, his family, and the crew transforms a maritime puzzle into a poignant tale of loss and uncertainty. The Mary Celeste challenges our understanding of the sea, human behavior, and the limits of knowledge. While evidence-based conclusions bring us closer to the truth, the mystery's enduring appeal lies in the space where facts meet imagination. 5. The enduring fascination with Mary Celeste. Why this mystery endures globally. The Mary Celeste is more than just a maritime mystery, it is a cultural phenomenon that has fascinated people worldwide for over a century. Its story has transcended its historical origins, becoming a symbol of the unknown and a testament to humanity's enduring curiosity about the unexplained. A perfect mystery. At the heart of the Mary Celeste's appeal is its perfect blend of the ordinary and the extraordinary. On the surface, it was a typical merchant ship, engaged in a routine voyage. Yet its abandonment and the total disappearance of its crew transform it into a story that defies logic. Unlike many mysteries, the Mary Celeste offers tantalizing clues: the intact condition of the ship, the missing lifeboat, and the cargo of volatile alcohol. These details provide a framework for speculation, while leaving enough ambiguity to keep the case open-ended. The lack of definitive evidence makes it a riddle that invites endless interpretation. Human connection. Part of what makes the Mary Celeste so compelling is the human element. This was not just a ship, it was a floating community of individuals, each with their own lives, dreams, and connections. The disappearance of Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, and the 7 crew members evokes a deep sense of loss and tragedy. The mystery taps into universal fears: the unpredictability of nature, the fragility of human endeavors, and the possibility of encountering forces beyond our understanding. It is a story that reminds us of our vulnerability, even in the face of careful planning and expertise. Endless theories. The Mary Celeste's mystery has spawned countless theories, ranging from plausible to fantastical. Each new hypothesis, whether involving natural disasters, mutiny, piracy, or supernatural forces, adds another layer to its narrative. This abundance of interpretations ensures that the story remains fresh and engaging, inviting new generations to weigh in with their own ideas. The ship's story also highlights the interplay between fact and fiction. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's fictionalized account of the Mary Celeste in 1884, for example, introduced ghostly and supernatural elements that continue to influence public perception. Such creative embellishments have helped the mystery transcend its historical context, transforming it into a tale of imagination and wonder. A symbol of the unknown. The Mary Celeste has become a symbol of the unknown, representing humanity's endless quest for answers. Its story resonates in part because it reflects the limitations of our knowledge. Even in an age of advanced technology and scientific understanding, there are mysteries that elude explanation. The ship's ghostly image, drifting silently across the Atlantic, untouched and unexplained, has become an enduring icon of maritime lore. It embodies the allure of the sea as a vast, untamed frontier, where anything can happen and not everything can be understood. The role of media. The Mary Celeste's enduring legacy is also a testament to the power of storytelling. Newspapers of the time sensationalized the discovery, fueling public fascination with dramatic and often fictitious details. Over the years, books, films, and documentaries have kept the story alive, each adding their own interpretation to the mystery. This continuous retelling ensures that the Mary Celeste remains part of the global cultural consciousness. It is not just a historical event but a narrative that evolves with each new generation, reflecting changing perspectives and values. A mystery without borders. The Mary Celeste's appeal is universal. It transcends geography, language, and culture, resonating with anyone who has ever wondered about the unknown. Its mystery invites people to think critically, engage their imaginations, and confront the limits of human understanding. The ship's story also serves as a reminder of the interconnectedness of the world. The Mary Celeste was a product of international trade, carrying goods across oceans and bringing together a diverse crew. Its fate, though tragic, highlights the shared risks and uncertainties of maritime exploration. Why it endures. The Mary Celeste endures not because it offers answers, but because it raises questions about the nature of mystery, the power of imagination, and the fragility of human life. Its story is a puzzle that may never be solved, but that is precisely what makes it so compelling. Ultimately, the Mary Celeste represents the enduring allure of the unknown. It challenges us to seek answers, while accepting that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, leaving room for wonder, curiosity, and the stories that connect us across time and space. Influence on literature and film. The Mary Celeste's enigmatic story has captivated not only historians and maritime enthusiasts, but also writers, filmmakers, and artists. Its haunting mystery has inspired countless works of fiction, becoming a cultural touchstone that continues to influence creative storytelling. From classic literature to modern cinema, the ship's legacy lives on in the world of art and entertainment. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and the Birth of a Legend. One of the earliest and most influential fictional accounts of the Mary Celeste came from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes. In 1884, Doyle published a short story titled J. Habakkuk Jeffson's Statement, which was loosely based on the Mary Celeste. The story, written as a first-person narrative, introduced ghostly and supernatural elements to the ship's tale, portraying it as cursed and plagued by mysterious forces. Although the story was fictional, many readers believed it to be a factual account, further cementing the Mary Celeste's reputation as a ghost ship. Doyle's embellishments, including the addition of bloodstains and cryptic messages, have shaped public perceptions of the ship and its mystery. To this day, his work is credited with popularizing the supernatural aura surrounding the Mary Celeste. Literary adaptations. The Mary Celeste has appeared in numerous novels and short stories, often serving as a symbol of the unknown or a catalyst for thrilling adventures. Authors have reimagined the ship's story in a variety of genres, from historical fiction to science fiction. For example, the ship has been depicted as a vessel trapped in a time loop, a victim of alien abduction, or a key element in tales of maritime horror. These fictionalized accounts often blend fact and fantasy, using the Mary Celeste's unresolved mystery as a springboard for imaginative storytelling. The ship's tale has also been explored in poetry and drama, with writers using its eerie imagery to evoke themes of loss, isolation, and the power of the sea. Its versatility as a symbol ensures that it remains a source of inspiration for creative minds. Influence on film and television. The Mary Celeste's story has made its way onto the screen in various forms, from documentaries to fictional films. In 1935, the British film The Mystery of the Mary Celeste released in the United States as Phantom Ship. offered a dramatized version of the ship's tale. Starring Bela Lugosi, the film blended historical elements with fictional intrigue, presenting a narrative filled with mutiny and murder. The ship has also appeared in episodes of television series, exploring unsolved mysteries and paranormal phenomena. These portrayals often emphasize the eerie and otherworldly aspects of the story, contributing to its enduring mystique. More recently, the Mary Celeste has inspired episodes of science fiction and fantasy shows, where it is depicted as a vessel caught in time or space, reflecting humanity's fascination with the unknown. A symbol of endless possibilities, the Mary Celeste's enduring appeal lies in its adaptability as a narrative device. Its story can be molded to fit a wide range of genres and themes, from supernatural horror to existential drama. The ship's mystery serves as a blank canvas, inviting creators to explore what it means to confront the unexplainable. Its influence extends beyond direct adaptations. The Mary Celeste has inspired countless fictional ghost ships in literature and film, becoming a cultural archetype for abandoned vessels with haunting pasts. This legacy ensures that even when the ship itself is not the focus, its spirit lives on in stories of the sea. Cultural legacy. The Mary Celeste's influence on literature and film highlights its role as more than just a historical mystery. It has become a symbol of the human imagination, a reminder of our fascination with the unknown and our need to create stories that help us grapple with it. The ship's tale continues to inspire new generations of writers and filmmakers, proving that some mysteries are not just meant to be solved, they are meant to be shared, reimagined, and celebrated through the art of storytelling. Lessons from an unsolved mystery. The story of the Mary Celeste is more than just an enduring maritime puzzle. It is a profound reminder of the complexities of human endeavor and the mysteries of nature. The unresolved questions surrounding the ship's fate have inspired not only speculation and creativity, but also valuable lessons about exploration, human decision-making, and our relationship with the unknown. The limits of human knowledge. One of the most striking lessons from the Mary Celeste is the reminder of how much remains beyond our understanding. Despite advances in science, technology, and historical research, the exact circumstances that led to the crew's disappearance remain elusive. This gap in knowledge highlights the limitations of human perception and the unpredictable nature of the sea. It serves as a humbling acknowledgement that, even with meticulous preparation and expertise, there are forces, both natural and psychological, that defy complete comprehension. The Mary Celeste invites us to embrace uncertainty, recognizing that not all mysteries can or should be solved. It is a reminder to approach the unknown with curiosity, humility, and a sense of wonder. The human element in decision-making. The decisions made by Captain Briggs and his crew remain a focal point of the mystery. What could have prompted such an experienced team to abandon a seaworthy vessel? The answer likely lies in the intersection of rational judgment and human emotion. The Mary Celeste underscores the delicate balance between caution and courage. In moments of crisis, faced with incomplete information, the crew may have acted out of fear or miscalculation, believing they were choosing the lesser of two dangers. Their story serves as a case study in the challenges of making decisions under pressure, especially in high-stakes environments where the consequences are irreversible. The power of storytelling. The Mary Celeste's legacy demonstrates the enduring power of storytelling in shaping how we understand and remember historical events. Over time, the ship's tale has evolved from a maritime anomaly to a global phenomenon, enriched by fictional accounts, speculative theories, and cultural reinterpretations. This evolution reveals how mysteries like the Mary Celeste are not just about facts, but about the narratives we construct around them. These stories reflect our fears, aspirations, and fascination with the unknown, allowing us to connect with the past in meaningful ways. The Mary Celeste reminds us that history is not a fixed record, but a living dialogue between evidence and imagination. The ship's story has been told and retold in countless forms, each adding a new dimension to its mystery. A call for resilience and exploration. The Mary Celeste is also a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Its crew, though lost to history, were part of a broader narrative of exploration and risk-taking. Their journey reflects the courage required to venture into the unknown, whether crossing vast oceans or confronting the limits of understanding. For modern audiences, the Mary Celeste's mystery serves as a call to embrace uncertainty and the challenges of exploration. It reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge is not just about answers, but about the questions that drive us forward. A legacy of curiosity. Ultimately, the Mary Celeste teaches us that some mysteries endure because they speak to fundamental aspects of the human experience. Its story resonates not because it is unsolved, but because it invites us to explore the boundaries of what we know and imagine what lies beyond. The Mary Celeste is a reminder that life's greatest lessons often come not from definitive conclusions, but from the journey of seeking understanding. It challenges us to remain curious, to value the unknown, and to find meaning in the stories that connect us to the past and to each other. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.